I just had to talk about it. This was something that was on my mind, and there is no way I could just let it sit there. I believe the Colorado Buffaloes loss last night revealed a lot of things, and it revealed really everything for me. How people feel about Coach Prime, how people feel about this football team. What are the actual thoughts? Because everything that was going on, from the hype to all of the TV, all of the different things that we saw with the Colorado Buffaloes, a lot of people really didn't like it. So now I'm looking at this, and we're going to talk about it all, because I think that rather than just sitting on those thoughts, putting out a tweet, sending a message, what I can say, and we can dive a little bit deeper into this. I want to know what your thoughts are as we get into this topic as well. But before all of that, I want to preface this by saying it's not my way or the highway. I'm not saying I'm completely right. I'm not saying no one's completely wrong. There's two ways in which you can look at everything. I think some comments about Coach Prime and some different things have some truth within them, but I think they also have some false aspects within them. So I really want to break some things down, some of the major comments in which I've seen, and we're going to talk about it all. But also, before we get into Colorado, how can we not talk about Stanford? Down 29-0. I don't know what the message was, but to be down at that point, a team who was 1-4 coming into this football game, a team who was on a losing streak, a team who's trying to figure it out at the quarterback position, all of these things that are going on, and you go in that locker room, you're down 29-0, Dylan Edwards Jr., Xavier Weaver, Travis Hunter, Deion Sanders, these guys are walking up and down the football field, but you stay resilient. I cannot quantify just how much I respect the head coach for that. I cannot quantify how much I respect the players for that. You came out in that second half and played your tails off. Iron Manor, I just checked his classification. He's a sophomore, but I bet you he put himself on some NFL radars. He has the size. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but we see the hands. We see some of the route running and the physicality within that route running. Just some things we're seeing. I'm not saying he's Marvin Harrison Jr., but a really big time game. My hat's off to him. He carried the offense in the second half. They had some other guys who chipped in, but of course, the quarterback and his connection, that was unmatched. And everyone's going to point to the catch over Travis Hunter. That's an amazing catch. Now, we're going to talk about Travis Hunter and his usage coming off of that injury. First game back. And we're going to talk about Coach Prime, some of the different things within the coaching scheme and some of the clock management. How are you approaching the game? Because we get to a point where people say either you're coaching some of these things, you're coaching some of these undisciplinary things, or you're tolerating some of these undisciplinary things. And I don't think he's tolerating it. So I'm going to talk about all that. But I just wanted to give my hats off to the Stanford Cardinals. It's just, if you love the game of football and you see something like that happen where a team comes back like that, you really can't say how much you appreciate that, how much that brings to the game of football. And it sucks that it was Colorado to lose that game, because I do like Colorado. I root for those guys. But Stanford, my hat's off to you once again. Now, getting into it all. And the first angle which I want to approach this from, I saw the interviews. I saw the post-game conferences. And what Deion Sanders was really saying, what he was really entailing, he said that I want to find out the guys. And I don't think that he was really deflecting. I didn't see what he was saying as deflecting blame. I didn't see what he was saying is, it's all on the players. It's not on me and my coaching staff. I just didn't see it as that. I saw a guy who's challenging his players. He knows his players better than we know his players. We're not in Colorado's coaching room. We're not in Colorado's locker room. We're not in these kids' lives. We don't know Travis Hunter. We don't go to school with them. So he knows how to get the most out of his guys. And I believe what he said let me just say what he said. He said, I want to find out the guys who are in love with the game and who are in like with the game. Who really loves this? Who wants to eat, sleep, and breathe football, and who likes it? Who wants to be on TV? Who wants to walk out of the stadium? Who wants to run out with the baby? Who wants to do those different types of things? I want to find out those guys versus the guys where if it's no celebrities, if nobody's coming to the game, if the stands are not full, who still loves it? Who still wants to come to practice every day? Who still wants to be the guy on this team? If we had nothing, if I wasn't Coach Prime, do you still love the game? I believe that was the deeper message within it, because what I saw some of those lackadaisical efforts. I saw some undisciplinary things, which I know Coach Prime doesn't coach, but we saw that in the second half. And you wonder, how does it get to that point when you're back against the wall? You're going to see what your team really is. You're going to see how resilient your guys are. I think we saw that from Stanford. I just talked about those guys. Came back 29-0. And you want to see some of that same thing. Now, Colorado has had some comebacks, but it's tougher to play with the lead than it is to come back. I think we can all say that if you're watching this channel, you probably watch a lot of football. So we've watched a lot of football, and it's coming to the fact that if you're ahead, now you're playing not to lose. You actually have something to lose. That's how you're playing. So, okay, now I'm a little more lenient. Now I got to be perfect with this read. Maybe I'm holding the ball too long. Maybe I'm doing some of these different things. Maybe I'm trying to create the big time run. Maybe I'm holding because I believe if I hold this defensive end, my quarterback is going to get it there. It's little things like that, but it all adds up. So I believe they were playing not to lose that game, and they lost it because you have to keep your foot on their neck. You have to keep your foot on the gas. And I think that the Colorado Buffaloes last night actually let their foot off the gas. That's just what I saw on the football field. And what we saw from Stanford was a team who was relentless. They were getting after it. They had nothing to lose. They're down 29-0. Who cares if you lose this game? You're already 1-4. But they had pride. They had something to play for. So like I said, applaud them for that message. But Coach Prime saying that I'm trying to find out who loves the game. And he was basically saying that he himself loves the game, reflecting that as a coach. I don't think that's taking anything personal. I don't think that's putting anything on the player saying me, I. It's saying that, okay, I'm the coach. I love the game. I would give my last to play this game if I could one more time, but I just can't no more. And he said that it's tough that when you love the game can't love you back as much as you love it. And you're looking at what he's saying, and all he's saying is, I want my guys to be a reflection of me. There's nothing wrong with that as a head coach. I'm the head coach. I'm the leader of this team. I really love the game. I play with effort. I play with discipline, all these different things. I want my guys to be like that. When I come out on the football field, this team, it's going to be a reflection of Coach Prime. That wasn't a reflection of him. That's all he's saying. So I didn't see throwing anyone under the bus, but at the same time, there's two ways which we can look at it. When he's saying, okay, we say these things about the guys, and do they love the game or do they like the game? Are you in love or are you in like? You also have to look at it and say, my offensive coordinators, my defensive coordinators. Now, I'm thinking that a lot of people have said, Coach Prime has gotten humbled in these different things, and I think that it's just deeper than something. I've never seen a team, and even players, these young men, Travis Hunter, I've never seen people who are so disliked like Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter has done nothing to anybody, but yet he's so disliked. When you get the big time catch by Iron Manor and you have some of these different things, it's like, okay, he's humbled as well. Coach Prime is humble. This is a guy who needs to go to the NFL as a receiver, not a DB. I think that's just too much of an overreaction. Okay, yes, he has some catches on him by Iron Manor. This is a guy who had a great game. He had the connection going. And I look at a third down pass. It was 3rd and 5. He actually jumped it. Iron Manor still caught it. When you're having a day like that, you're just going to have a good game. And I think that we talk about his usage and some of the different things. What I'm seeing is, for one, we could talk about the penalties. 17 penalties for 127 yards. Undisciplined. Offensive line still can't pick up blitzes, still can't pick up stunts. Undisciplined. These are different things in which we talk about. The run game still cannot get going. That's something that has to be fixed. That's been a problem, and it hasn't been fixed yet. So that's something else we can look at defensively. It's not like Stanford came out like the old teams. It wasn't the Christian McCaffrey run game. It wasn't that type of offensive line. They threw the ball down the field. Iron Manor had a big-time game, and he was the offense. They kept throwing it to him, whether it was on Travis, whether it was on Slusher, whether it was on Woods, those different types of things. And it was just him. So we understand they've struggled in the secondary for really all of these games that we see. Defensively, they haven't had a complete game from the secondary in the front seven. So also, I think that when we talk about the front seven, the defensive line is not getting much pressure to also help those guys out in the back end. So you look at all of these different things and see how they play into each other, see how they add into each other. And I just think that also with Travis, his usage. Now, should he have played as much snaps as he did last night? I think it's up for debate. When you get into a situation and you're up 29-0, okay, maybe you let him sit a little bit, but we got to understand Travis, his mindset, his motor, he's not going for that. But also at the same time, as a coach, you have to save your player from himself. I thought he took some big time hits on the touchdown catch that he had. He took a huge hit in the ribs, couldn't really protect himself on that one, and we saw it playing to it. Got back out there on defense, looked like he was just a little bit tired. It's really tough in college at this level in the Pac-12 to go like that on both ways. Also, when you're fresh off of an injury, first game back. So I thought that it could have been a little better with managing his usage, but I'm not going to sit here and act like that was the end all be all, the reason he lost the game. It was a team that got out coached, out physical, outplayed in that second half, and they just lost. Because even on the last play, you have a mesh concept and you got Travis and another guy crossing underneath, and then they crash into each other and it's nothing there. So Deion Sanders, he's hunting and he eventually throws the pick. Then Stanford gets the football back and kicks the field goal. These are the little types of things that I'm looking at. All of these things that play into the game, but it's just, I can't say that, these are not his guys. I can't say that, okay, these are guys that Coach Prime isn't really familiar with, something he's going to have to go out and recruit. He brought all of these guys in. Really, outside of the safety and Woods, a lot of these guys are handpicked by Coach Prime. So you want smart, you want fast, you want strong, discipline, all these different types of things on a football field. And I think that it's just taking time. We can't say, and this is another thing I want to touch on. We say oftentimes that when we talk about Coach Prime in Colorado, we say when they're looking at teams like a USC, like a Oregon, losses, we look at that. These are two teams that are ranked pretty high in the college football rankings. If you don't think they're on par with those teams and you don't think they could last in the top 25 poll rankings, how could they not celebrate a win last week against Arizona State? I don't see it. The logic there is extremely flawed and it has a gaping hole in it. If they're not up here, why can't they celebrate winning a team who they believe was competitive against them? It was a close game. They almost lost to Arizona State. So if they win that game, why can't they celebrate it? Why can't Shedeur show his watch? It's a big time win for him. That was another thing that I'm looking at. And all of these things that we talk about, really to take it back in total, as far as being humble, I think that it's a loss. It's a tough one. It's a stinger. It's something you don't want to deal with. But I don't think anybody was humble. I don't think Coach Prime is doing this just because he wants to be an advertising agent. I don't think he just wants to be on TV, all these commercials. He doesn't care about that. He wants to win football games, and he does it in style. Without confidence, I think his confidence is rubbing some people the wrong way. That's something that I'm really starting to look at and think about, because this team hasn't done anything to anyone. But it's now okay he's being humble. It's now okay Travis Hunter isn't that good. Maybe he should go into the NFL as a wide receiver instead of a corner. All of these things based off one loss. This is a guy who can't coach. It's some outlandish things which I'm hearing, and I just think that it's some of an overreaction, but it's deeper than just the loss. I don't know what it is, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments. I think this revealed all of that from people's feelings and different things that they think about the team, different things they think about the players. Maybe it's on a personal level. Maybe it's on the football field. We saw it all in that game. And also, this reveals something about Stanford, a team that played a very good game in the second half, came back, won it, resilient win. I love it. I've said it earlier to start the video off, but I truly admire just getting that win in that fashion. And we're probably not going to talk enough about the comeback because everyone's going to talk about Colorado, but I want to do my due diligence and give Stanford their credit with that win. So that's what I had to do to start it off. But overall, though, like I said, Travis, his usage, some of the different things, undisciplined, just an ugly loss in its totality, but I believe it revealed everything. Once again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. That's going to do it for today's episode, and now